Going deeper with the inquiry. Questioner.
I'm sitting down to write, but it seems kind of silly to talk about myself and what has been happening. So, whatever I am going to say will surely contain some contradiction.
There is no need to worry. Talking and writing are limited, but that doesn't mean you have to restrain yourself either. Thinking and talking are just a natural part of the flow. Personally, I think it is part of the process to dialogue about this. It is just a way to clear the undergrowth and can be a help.
One thing is really clear. I have never, ever seen the ego. There is absolutely no evidence that it exists, only hearsay, only assumptions. So if I only accept what I can actually witness, it is awfully hard to go on believing that the ego exists.
This is really a key thing to see and consider. It undercuts the core of all separation and limitation. Just because you start to see this or consider it, the habit of thinking the I is real may not die down overnight. There is just an inertia to it from being assumed to be there for many years. But just keep coming back to that insight and look at it in different ways, just out of a natural sense of curiosity. Try not to turn it into a practice, method, or technique with some specific imagined goal. Who would practice it? Who would pursue a goal? Only the imagined separate I. It starts to become really interesting to see how that idea can pop back into the picture in various ways. But then you start to see it more and more, and you are not taken in by it. At some point, it is almost humorous. It is fascinating to see how this non-existent I had been the focus of so much mental and emotional activity. I just want to stress it is not a test. Think of the common things that come up. When will I finally see this and be enlightened? When will the ego drop away? I'm not there yet, and so on. These are all purely imaginary dilemmas. This is the very ego sense at work. Just ask, who? Who is not there, or whatever. Only the false idea that I am a separate I. But there is no I, bingo. One way or another you have seen this, so it is all shadow boxing with an imaginary opponent. Then take a few moments to ask, what am I really? Am I not the awareness now? Do I need to attain that? Is there any problem with that? Then you are right back in the clarity, which has always been there. You just forgot it, through getting engrossed in the imagination. Still, you never actually left who you are. You do not have to make the thoughts or imagination go away. It is more just the seeing what is happening. Once you see the mechanism, it may continue, but you do not care. It does not affect you. There is a subtle dualism in expecting the thoughts to change or go away. It makes no difference to awareness if thoughts are there or not. So who cares? The imagined person again. It is a great relief to see that you don't have to do anything at all with the mind.
Yet that habitual thought process continues to conjure up the notion. When I notice this, the question simply arises again, is there an ego? And if so, where is it? Not being able to find it, the question subsides.
Yes, you just notice it. The old momentum, like I said, is there for a while. But you cannot really get fully embroiled in it anymore. It is an obvious fact that there is no ego in the machine. At first you investigate it and check it out. At times the old habits pop up, so you look again, perhaps repeatedly. At some point it just sinks in at a gut level, and you are convinced. Then the investigation drops away naturally. For example, your name is Bill or whatever, so do you have to go around thinking, I am Bill all the time? At some point, it is just your constant knowledge. It is the same with seeing that there no I. You investigate for a while, looking and seeing for yourself. At some point, you see it conclusively, and the looking is done. There just is not a separate I. It is a fact. That is the end of the road. You cannot really do much with a fact. It just is.
That is the crux of the issue, it seems. What appears in consciousness has little relevance. Sometimes there is mental lucidity, other times mental dullness. Sometimes the body feels good, other times not so good. It does not really matter too much anymore.
It looks like you have come pretty far along with all this. Not that there is anywhere to go. To me, there are two facets to all of this. First, there is the presence awareness that is the clear, constant base of all appearances. This is your real identity. Second, there is the absence of the separate person or I. This is the illusory or mistaken sense of yourself. To me, they are both key. Some Buddhist approaches have a good handle on the absence of an I, but it seems dry somehow, kind of empty, no pun intended. Some approaches focus on the absolute, but do not really expose the mechanism of the false I. It keeps popping back into picture. So even as you take time to explore the absence of the I, which is key, also continue to sense and explore that everything is appearing in that radiant, lucid, free, and untouched awareness. Contemplate what it means to simply be that. The looking into that may come and go, and you may need to check in on that. But there is also a point where you just know that for certain too. If there are knotty or thorny issues that keep popping up in spite of seeing all this, it is good to get them out for a look. I did that with Bob Adamson. It was just a clearing up of some mental flotsam and jetsam. I found it to be a great help to undercut places where I would tend to cycle back to sometimes, in spite of seeing the basics. Seeing that the separate I is not there is hugely important, because all the other self-limiting ideas are rooted in that. If the root is taken care of, the other issues take care of themselves. So keep coming back to the basics.
Anyway, that's my latest report.
It is nice to hear how things are unfolding. Everything sounds good.